my fellow Fude lovers, welcome to another video, and thank you to Fude Beauty for sending me one of their newer brands, Tauhaus. The brand Tauhaus is also based in Kumano, Japan. They're looking to unite both functionality and designs. So not only will you have an impeccable tool, but a sleek design as well. Tauhaus also focuses on small batch production, so they are able to keep a close eye on quality control as well as the materials used to ensure that the user will have a seamless experience using Tauhaus brushes. And thank you to Fude for sending me both the Pro series as well as the Cherry series. We'll start with the Pro series first. In addition to the brush details, we'll also cover some B-roll, as I love to demonstrate these brushes using several products, so you have a better idea of how these brushes possibly can serve you if you have similar products as I do in the demonstrations. And if you have other products, I could also touch on different possibilities in terms of the tasks that these brushes can cover and what other products they can be used with. I have 7 brushes in all, but you can buy these brushes individually or in a set, as Fude Beauty has them available on the Tauhaus brand page. Beginning with the Tauhaus Pro P02 basic cheek brush, and it is made with pine squirrel. You could use this brush with powder, liquid, and cream products, and of course when I read that I was like, must use this with a liquid foundation and cream blush, of course. So I went in with the Haus Lab Skin Tech foundation, and because of the medium density the 02 exhibits, it will soak up more product than a denser brush would. So I made sure to spot the foundation on my skin first, and then I went in with the 02. And because it is flat on both sides, it has a paintbrush paddle-like feel to the skin, especially if you prefer to blend your foundation in that fashion. Some people like to go in circular, some people like to go with the paint down technique. Thus, the 02's design is intuitive in that way, where you can paint on your foundation all over your face, and the medium sized brush I think maneuvers well across the skin, through the brows, over and under brows, especially on the smaller areas of your face like your nose, under the lip, and you can get some also nice contouring if you wish to. If you go in for your contouring first around the forehead and through the hollows of your cheeks, you could use 02 to strike that product through the hollows over your forehead in order to have a more soft focus finish and also just to have a softer blend. Now, because this is pine squirrel, it's not going to be as soft as goat, but because of that, there's more utility there. It's a little more of a workhorse bristle, which means you can wash it more often without the quality decreasing. And because of that, I think it's more advantageous to paint down than to pat, because when you tap down, that's where you might feel a little bit of the stiffness and also might feel the tip of the bristles. But if you lay the bristles flush against your skin and pull down in this fashion softly, you won't feel that as much. So just have to know the best way to go in technical wise. And I also use the 02 with Danessa's Jubilee, which this brush picks up a lot of product, and I tapped it on first, and as I said, when you tap on, you might feel the tips of the bristles more, but after that I made sure to go in a swiping fashion to blend the product out, and I loved how it looked over the foundation. The end result was smooth, poreless, soft focus. And this brush you don't have to use a lot of product with. I think whatever product you get on your skin or you pick up with the brush is enough and will lay down a light layer of coverage, and of course if you want more you can add on, but starting out with a lighter hand I think best, and taking advantage of the brush bristles and the size itself to maneuver around your face to ensure that you get that product all over in a way that doesn't require you to apply more if you don't have to. Next up, we have the Tauhaus Pro P03 Finishing Highlight Brush, a classic flat brush, but this is a mixture of gray squirrel and horsehair, used primarily with loose and pressed powders, and here I demonstrated it with the Hourglass powder from the Edit palette. I use the 03 to place some powder under the eyes, but also to whip around finishing powder around the regions of my face, larger regions of my face. What I appreciate about the size is it can be precise, but also because it has nice splay, when you press it against your skin, you can cover a larger surface area at once. And other tasks that you could use this with, I think I also demonstrated here, I use the Hourglass highlighter on the cheekbones. The flat side of the brush makes it supremely easy to feel where the brush is going on your cheekbones. And I also think the mixture of gray squirrel and horsehair is combining softness with grip on the product, right? I think you'll pick up nice product because of the horsehair, but you'll get that soft blend from the gray squirrel. So best of both worlds here. And again, it's not too small, but not too large either, where if you need more precise placement of powder, perhaps you don't usually apply powder on the majority of your face. You mostly apply it here under the eyes, around the nose. Perhaps you'll use either bronzer or contouring powder to hit the sides of your nose, under your lip. So I do think this brush quite versatile, not only with setting under eyes and smaller regions of your face. You could actually use this to apply a little bit of contour, dare I say bronzer. The bronzer might look a little tight, not as diffused as you would use a much bigger brush with, but because again, nice mobility and splay here, once you get the product here on the hollows, you can whip around the product in a way that I feel can still look diffused. However, if you're looking to keep that application tighter, if you are using a sculpt type of powder that's more cool tone or neutral tone, it will definitely keep it tighter here into the hollows of the cheeks, so the end result will look sculpted. Next up, we have the Tauhaus Pro P04 Basic Highlight Brush. This is all made with horsehair. You can also use this brush with powder, liquid, or cream products. And I thought this brush interesting. Although I did not use it for a highlight in this demo B-roll, I did use it to apply Natasha Denona's metallic shade from her mini nude palette in Sienna. And I think this brush a little too stiff for my liking for highlight. You definitely can place highlight here on the very small portion of your cheekbone. Perhaps you have an ultra metallic high shine finish product that if placed on a larger region, it'll be too much. But if you wanted that more concentrated, precisely placed being effect on your cheekbone or even on the brow bone, then I can see where the 04 can cover that task well. But I love this for eyeshadow because of its wider length. Is pinched here on the ferrule, is dense but has nice movement across the tip here. So as you saw in the B-roll, not only was I able to get nice pickup from the shadow, I just was able to swipe this across my entire lid and use the softer tip of the 04 to blend out that application. This brush for me is like a one and done moment for eyeshadow, especially if you have an eye shape similar to mine. If you have a lot of lid space, then that's where it will shine. But I understand if you have smaller eyes, hooded eyes, you might need a softer, smaller brush to ensure the product gets on evenly on the lid. But I love this brush for one and done looks because not only does it place color well here on the lid, I could also manipulate the shadow through and above my crease in a way that makes it look like I use a traditionally designed blending crease brush. So having shader brushes like the 04, very much unique to my collection. This might have to go into one of my top shader brush picks, although it's a highlight brush. Tauhaus does present this as a highlight brush, but man, is it a killer eyeshadow brush as well. And also you can place some nice color under the lash line. A little stiff here for lower lash line purposes. If you love squirrel and goat variations, then I understand this might be a little too stiff for you. However, if you can take the horsehair, it has nice haze effect here under the lash line, and you can flick the edges of your eyeshadow with the tip of the brush in a way that makes it look soft and diffused and overall has that finished look to the eyeshadow. Next, we have the Tauhaus Pro P08 medium eyeshadow brush. This is made with Alpine Squirrel. You could also use this with powder, liquid, and cream. I applied the bronzage shade from Mini Nude on the lower lash line, and I also applied the matte shade Soil on the outer lid. Now this is not going to feel as soft as squirrel or as goat. However, I see the value in the pickup game, my goodness, and also the blending game. Because the brush is not super long or short, it has really nice movement here. So it will have that shader brush task where you could place nice color here on the inner lid or along the entirety of your lid if you're using one of a showstopper metallic, shimmer, pearl, specialized, what have you. You could also take some color here on the lower lash line. It will feel a little stiffer again than squirrel or goat, but it's going to get the color there. I was surprised, however, at how well the 08 blended shadow through my crease, because this is a shader brush. I am used to using crease brushes just because that point gets in nice to the fold, but this got in really nice through my fold, and I was able to flick the shadow out in a way that the end result looks smooth and finished. So I think it helpful to experiment with different brush types with other tasks, especially when it comes to eyes. That's when I was able to embrace the versatility of a huge shader brush that has nice movement but also great pickup. When you combine those possibilities, you could use one brush for your entire eye. Lid, inner corner, crease, lower lash line, and you're done. That limits the number of brushes that you take along for the ride if you're traveling, or if you are in a rush, you just have that one brush, your one palette, your towel, of course, to wipe in between, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about using 1,000 tools at once for one eye look. Next is the Tauhaus Pro P09 Shadow Liner Brush. This is made with weasel and horsehair. Can be also used with powder, liquid, and cream. And here I applied Soil from Mini Nude along the lash line, as well as Lumino on the lower inner lash line and on the brow bone. Now, just based off the size of the brush, small shadow liner, nice length though. So the brush itself has nice movement. Stiff, however, I would use this to stamp on or carefully sketch out a shadow liner along the lash line. If you're not quite keen on using liner, you can definitely use shadow. However, because you can use this with cream and liquid, if for instance I use black coffee on my lash line, then I could use a 09 to further blend that pencil along the lash lines so it can appear softer. I could also pull it past the lash line if I wanted a more precise wing. So having a brush this size, I think, it's helpful when you are looking to cover more precise tasks for your eye look, right? Especially if, for myself, I love to apply different colors here on the lower inner lash line. If you just want that small spotlight effect on the inner corner, then the brush is small enough to deliver that, as well as the brow bone highlight. I haven't done brow bone highlight in a very long time. Sometimes it's a little too much, but having a smaller brush like the 09 enables me to pinpoint that highlight application under my brow bone in a way that's subtle but delivers the right amount of glow. So this is a fantastic brush, again, for smaller tasks that you find in your eye routine that you need, whether lining purposes, highlight purposes, that don't get out of hand, and it keeps the application tight and clean to the eyes. Next, we have the Tauhaus Pro P17 Detail Foundation Brush. This is made with all nylon bristles, cream and liquid, as you probably assumed, and I use this here to blend out the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. Thank you, Surratt, for sending me that new concealer in the shade 5. And this, of course, is classic in when you have an all synthetic brush. It's going to be fantastic with cream and liquid products. It has nice flexibility despite it being all nylon. Really nice movement here because I feel the bristles are long enough where it doesn't feel too stiff on the skin, and I think the brush size is ideal for under eyes. Probably will be a little small for all over the face. I will definitely go in with a bigger brush like the one we started with, the 02. I think this is more optimal for smaller regions of your face. And something I haven't done in quite some time is carving out my brows, my goodness. So I decided to put the P17 to the test, use my Lancome concealer to carve under my brows, and the brush bristles do stay flat enough where the application is smooth and precise, right? The bristles don't separate, so I was able to achieve quite the sharp line, but I didn't use too much concealer, right? I used just enough to make that happen. And it's nice to have a brush this size to place product where you need. If I have blemishes or what have you that need a little more coverage, then I can rely on the 17 to tap where I need and not overwhelm my skin with product. And this perhaps is my most favorite brush out of the entire collection. It is no other than the Tauhaus Pro P20 Cream Color brush, made with all goat hair, flat slanted, can be used with powder, cream, and liquid, and by far one of the more unique brushes now I have in my collection. And in the demo here, I use this to apply the LYS Contour Bronze Stick in Harmony. I adore how the P20 applied this cream product precisely through the hollows, but it didn't look overly precise. It looked blurred and blended, and because this goat is on the softer side than Pine Squirrel, it might still feel stabby to some, 100%. If you rather use an all synthetic brush that's shaped in the same fashion, I get, but I do like the natural bristles for cream application, as it does take away more, so you're left behind with a more natural finish. You could also use this to apply contour or bronzing first and then use the P20 to blend afterwards. I use this also to paint down the sides of my nose. What else do I have here? Could also use this to paint some cream blush around the apples of your cheeks. I also use this brush to apply my mineral foundation here under the eyes. So you can definitely kind of go out of the zone in terms of powders and creams, right? Because the brush is small enough where you could fit it around regions of your face that are much smaller. And also, I think it helpful to have a smaller brush that you could buff through smaller regions of your face to just finish the makeup after all has been applied and blended. P20 is fantastic, because I do have some smaller flat top brushes in my collection, but the fact that it's slanted is still on the small side, but has really nice movement and fluidity here. You got nice splay, so it doesn't keep so tight to the face, or it doesn't look overly precise when you blend the product out. I think you have room to manipulate the product in the way that it looked like you used a bigger brush, but you still have that precision if you wish to apply product on smaller portions of your face, but again, not all over. It moves well across the face, versatile, fantastic brush. Now going into the Cherry series, we have shorter handles here for control and portability. You get the pink handle and the copper colored ferrule that has that brushed matte finish. And these are pretty resilient and are considered to be workhorse brushes, and especially nice for those who are just getting into Fude. You don't want to spend a fortune right off the bat, right? But you just want to try mid-tier in terms of pricing and in bristle quality what Fude can offer your makeup collection and your application experience. First up, we have the Tauhaus cheek brush from the Cherry series. I'll just keep it at that because these numbers are quite long, but they'll be down in the timestamps. This is made with all goat hair. You could use this with powder, liquid, and cream. And here I use the Hourglass palette again, applying the bronzer and blush shades. And this brush is pretty versatile in terms of its size. You have it pinched on the ferrule, pretty nice movement, medium density. I actually use this brush to apply my mineral makeup today because it's not so dense, but not so flimsy either, where it picks up nice product but blends it well on the skin, so the lasting effect is again soft focused and blurred. And I like the goat blend, especially when using with a product like Hourglass on the softer side. It'll pick up more product, but it won't look overwhelming on the skin, right? If you really wanted a higher delivery of color, of intensity, you could achieve that with this cheek brush. Next, we have the Cherry series liquid foundation brush. This is all nylon with liquid and cream you can use this brush with. And here I applied the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation in 11.5. This is on the stiffer side. It feels more like a paint brush. It's not going to be as soft as other synthetic paddle brushes out there. I say paddle brush because that's what it reminds me of. But if you want that stiffness in terms of it being a little more robust in how it blends product, then this is something for you to consider. The shorter handle, I feel, makes it easier to apply foundation. Also a plus is the brush size itself, and the fact that it's on the slightly stiffer side, that means more precision through the brows and even under the brows, around the nose. If you want this brush to paint on any contour, and then you can use another brush to blend that application out. You could also use this to be tighter here around the forehead. So it's give and take, right? It depends on you and how you want your foundation to look, what type of foundation that you're using, and what your finished blend and how you would like your finished blend to look like in the end. Next, we have the Tauhaus large eyeshadow brush from the Cherry series. This is made with all horsehair, can also be used with powder, liquid, and cream. And here, a huge thank you to Viseart for sending me some PR, the Petite 4 in Rosea Lotus. Now with the eyeshadow brush, it is longer bristled and it has more movement. It's not going to be as stiff, which means it's not going to have as much pickup as, let's say, the Pro 08, right? So just something for you to consider. I would think the large eyeshadow brush is ideal for softer shadows like Suku, Viseart, of course. Not going to get great pickup from tighter metallics that you find in Natasha Denona palettes or even Pat palettes. You definitely need that formula that's on the softer side. I would even say Byredo's Remembrance or Byredo's Flora Kalahari, those softer matte shades that the larger horsehair brush can pick up easier than those tighter metallic shades, right? Just something for you to consider. And because it is on the larger side, I think ideal for an eye size like mine's or generally bigger eyes. However, I did use this brush to apply Natasha Denona's, one of her little duos, the highlighter on my cheekbones. My goodness. Much like what I had said about the Pro 04, if you want more pinpoint precision for highlight and you just need it to be placed on the very center of your cheekbones, this brush is fantastic. I'm sure you could also assume that you could use to set under the eyes, right? You could get it here right in the inner lower part of your under eye region. You could paint down some contour or bronzer here down the sides of your nose, get under the lip. So this brush is open to experimentation. I think you can cover different portions of your face. It doesn't have to be strictly to eyeshadow application. It could cover a few complexion tasks as well, especially because, again, the brush length makes it possible for that to happen, right? So other ideas to consider to use with the large eyeshadow brush from the Cherry series. Next, we have the Tauhaus round eyeshadow brush from their Cherry series, also all made with horsehair, can be used with loose and pressed powders, and again, use the Viseart palette, but apply the lighter highlighter shade on the inner corner. Pencil brushes of this size and density, I think fantastic if you want more application intensity here on the outer lid area and want to bring the shadow across the crease. This is a little stiffer though. It's going to be a little stiff. It's not going to be as soft as squirrel hair or some goat hair types. I think, however, if you're fine with that and want fantastic pickup from your eyeshadow product, not only to build intensity on the outer lid, but also to brush some nice color here on the lower lash line and also to bring color here on the inner corner for highlight, then something to consider. Also, you could paint some highlight on the brow bone, and I would primarily keep this brush to eye tasks, right? I'm sure you could find a reason to use this brush on other portions of your face, but from my demo and using this brush outside the demos, I think just overall more ideal for the smaller tasks in terms of precision eye makeup application for places like your inner corner and lower lash line. And lastly, we have the Tauhaus Shadow Liner brush from the Cherry series, made with weasel and horsehair, can be used with powder, cream, and liquid products. And my apologies, I didn't have B-roll using the shadow liner, but allow me to compare this with the Pro 09. Right? So the Pro 09, let me go back to my notes here, was weasel and horsehair, and this is the same blend from the Cherry series. So the one from the Cherry series is a little wider, as you can see, just a touch bit wider. And I will use the Cherry series as I did with the 09. This is primarily going to come in clutch when you're looking to blend out your liner. If you do like to apply darker shadows tight to the lash line, both top and bottom, then the shadow liner will help you achieve just that. It is stiff, so this is not a brush that I would pull across the lash line. I would lightly tap and sketch. I think that's going to yield the best sensation, the best experience in terms of feel. But I also think it's going to help manipulate the product precisely enough, especially if you have lid skin that moves easily. You want to lightly brush against the skin so the skin remains mostly taut and you can manipulate the product and not the skin itself. So you don't end up with that spotty skip look when you're trying to blend out shadow or even blend out liner on the lash line. You want the end result to look smooth, lightly sketch and touch. That's the way to go. And that is it for Tauhaus. I've been using these brushes not only in the B-roll but outside of that just to get a better feel. And I do think and consider these brushes to be workhorse ones, versatile in nature, especially if you are a pro and you need a more resilient brush type to wash more often, to give you a more robust blend. And it's nice to explore other bristle types outside of squirrel and goat because those are the dominating bristle types in my own collection. I don't have a ton of pine squirrel or horsehair blends, but I can see the value in those bristle types in terms of the pickup, the blend, the versatility overall, where you could cover several tasks at once, where you don't have to use a bunch of brushes, but you could use a select few, and you can never go wrong with the shorter handle design, right? Great for portability, as the Tauhaus Cherry Series product page stated. That limits the amount of room you need to take up, and again, I think it also encourages you to pack less, because if you have these brushes and you're like, okay, definitely could use this brush with this product and that with that product, then that just makes it easier for you to choose what you bring along. If I'm bringing along the Tauhaus series, I'm definitely going to pack a Suku Quad, because I do think, along with Viseart, that will be the best type of product to use this eyeshadow brush with. And then I have my smaller brushes here to hit the outer corner if I wanted more intensity and smoke. So again, I think the brushes themselves help you to better navigate your makeup collection, but also to challenge you in terms of how you apply makeup, how you wish your makeup to look like in the end, and also could be a possibility for saving in terms of budget. If you would like to try Fude brushes made in Japan, but you're not ready to commit to like a gray squirrel situation or like a premium goat hair situation, then I think goat horse and pine squirrel are fine bristle types to begin with, and you could take it from there if you ever wish to explore more. Again, a huge thank you to Fude Beauty and Tauhaus for sending me these beautiful tools. Let me know, fam, if you tried Tauhaus already, what your experience has been, what you have your eye on from this video. I will see you down in the comments, and until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Fude Beauty extravaganza, or maybe a new Fude brand. Take care, and I will see you again soon.